Okay guys, I just finished recapping the part 3 reunion of season 18 of Real Housewives of Orange County. So right now we are talking the season premiere of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 14 season premiere. So it starts off, we have a new cast member. Of course, you know, last season it ended with Annemarie, who didn't even show up until like episode 6. Everybody was like, what the hell? But Annemarie didn't even show up until episode 6 at Kyle's weed party. Crystal also got the boot. I think people were just basically tired of her making her story about her brother. You know, she had like this weird relationship where her storyline revolved around her brother's love life. Those two are gone. And Jennifer Tilly is brought on as a friend of Sutton's for this season. So she is officially a friend of. For this newest season of Beverly Hills, they have Boss. She was an executive over there at Netflix, an executive at Uber, an executive at a whole bunch of other stuff. She was in corporate America for 25 years and she's recently retired. So I enjoy watching her. But before we get into her, we also see the return of Kathy Hilton. So I do enjoy that as well. All the ladies look fabulous. They look great. Erica meets up with Dorit to go furniture shopping, but she's wanting to get rid of the furniture that she had took from her old home that she shared with Tom. While they're doing that, Dorit lets her know that her and PK had decided to separate. Dorit says that PK is an alcoholic and right now he's going through a sobriety journey and all this other stuff. PK actually meets up with Mauricio. While they're having lunch, PK lets Mauricio know that, you know, he decided to get sober, and after getting sober, he realizes that him and Dorit are not compatible, that, you know, there's been a lot of stuff going on that he is now clear-eyed about now that he's sober and everything. And he lets Mauricio and the general public know that he was the one that initiated the separation, which Dorit more or less confirms in her confessional. In her confessional, Dorit says that PK is very extreme. Everything is either black or white, and that, you know, she is like the type of person where it's like, okay, if something happens, you know, let's try to work it out. Let's try to whatever. But he's just, you know, far end of the spectrum of the extreme opposite, is either black or white, and that he was the one that initiated the separation. That is very interesting for me to hear, because for so long everybody was saying that, like, oh my God, you know, like, look at Dorit and look at PK, you know, like he would never leave her and all this other stuff. But yeah, I mean, if he's the one initiating the separation, yeah, he left her. And, you know, I'm sure he's well aware of the fact that, you know, he probably can find another trophy wife. Kyle is still on her sobriety journey. She's doing great. She actually tells Erica that when she quit drinking, she also quit soda. So she doesn't even drink soda anymore. It looks like she's doing 100 squats a day. So good for Kyle. She lets the audience know that Mauricio had moved out, and then her oldest daughter had moved out a couple of weeks afterwards. And she's really trying to navigate the house being more or less an empty nester. She has her youngest daughter there. Guys, hold up. My hair's sticking up and it's like bothering me. Like, what the hell? They talk about Morgan Wade without talking about her. So she does bring up Morgan, but she says that I am purposely not saying this person's name. And she's talking about this during Sutton's surrealism event. So the surrealism party based on last season's trip to Spain, when she took the ashes of her friend Merce and like just gathered it off the coast of Spain, and the ashes like flew back into the lady's face. And all I really remember about Merce is when Erica was drunk off her ass at dinner and Merce the purse. Like, that's really all I remember about Merce and that whole entire scene, which, by the way, they showed that flashback. I don't know why these ladies on all these franchises always make an excuse. Why can't you just say, I want to have an event to have something to film? Like, legit, even if you don't say to have something to film, just say, I feel like having a party because I want to throw a party. Stop thinking up these bullshits. Anyway, she wanted to have a party, and the theme was surrealism. Everybody seemed to understand the assignment except for Dorit. We'll get into that later. But anyway, so that was the theme of the party. And while they were at the party, they talk a little bit about Morgan Wade, and she is alluding to maybe being a lesbian or bisexual or bi-curious. I don't even know. And then she says something like, you know, I am very well aware of my sexuality, but, you know, I did start to question it. I was curious about it. And then Garcelle said something like, well, that music video didn't really help. And they more or less move on from it. So I don't expect that we're going to hear any more about Morgan Wade or anything like that, because it seemed like that was where they basically put a period dot at the whole Morgan Wade situation. So instead, we get introduced to Boss. She is all dressed in white. She has this huge train going on in her dress. Her and Dorit really hit it off. And in her confessional, she says, I could tell right away instantly whether I love you or I hate you, whether we're going to get along or we're going to be enemies. And she says, I love Dorit. The minute I met Dorit, I love her. So they, right off the bat, they just start bonding with each other. Dorit tells Boz that she is going through a separation with PK, and Boz shared that, she had went through a separation with her husband, but she's a widow, and they reconciled when she learned that he had cancer. We also see Kathy Hilton's return. Everybody anticipated anyway, because in last season's reunion, everybody was like, what the fuck? Why is Kathy Hilton at the reunion when she wasn't even in any of the scenes for last season, and she just showed up in the reunion? Well, anyway, Kathy Hilton is back on our television screen. We see her getting ready for Sutton's party, and she's also having a meeting with Dorit while she's getting her glam put together, and they're talking about her separation with PK. She's asking her, like, do you guys still have sex? Are you listening to him? Is it like a mutual thing and all this other stuff? Dorit is legit stressed about it, because I'm not sure why Bravo cameras decided to show this, but obviously they showed it because they wanted to be, authentic. They showed Dorit driving and smoking a cigarette. Look, I'm sure she's very stressed. So you see her smoking a cigarette. I felt like that was probably like the most realist scene that we have ever seen on Beverly Hills. Which, by the way, I love the music of Beverly Hills, okay? The music on Beverly Hills is all very like techno and dance, and it just gives that vibe. It's very, very much like the vibe that you would expect of Beverly Hills. Anyway, when Erica and Dorit had met up at the furniture shop, and they were talking, besides from talking about her separation with PK, she also talked about, her friendship with Kyle. She said she was really hurt when Kyle said that, their friendship was exaggerated, that it was never a friendship like that, and especially when she did the Amazon Live. Erica also has her meetup at Kyle's house, and Kyle is telling Erica what's going on with her and Dorit, and she's saying that, PK, she sent a text to PK, but she feels awkward about sending one to Dorit because she doesn't want Dorit to think that, there's an agenda behind it. And with what happened in the reunion, she felt like she was backstabbed by Dorit because Dorit shared private text messages that Kyle didn't want to put out there. The text messages was like, hey, don't bring this up at the reunion, which, of course, if you guys watched last season's reunion, Dorit brings it up anyway. Erica, being a supportive friend, it's just like, hey, I think you guys need to talk it out, work it out, whatever. So at Sutton's party, Sutton has deer antlers on her head, and then Jennifer Tilly is a swan. Dorit, though, she came as a satellite dish or something. She had this big disc on her head, like a plastic disc. And then her dress, I don't know what it was. Sutton thought it was a condom. She said something like, you don't have any STD. And Dorit was like, what? And Sutton's like, isn't that what your dress is? Isn't that like a condom or something? And Dorit's like, this is plastic, not rubber. Like, girl, what are you supposed to be? Does anybody know what Dorit was supposed to be? Was she supposed to be like a satellite dish? That's what I thought. I mean, Sutton thought she looked like a condom, but I thought that was what Dorit was. I thought she was coming as a satellite dish. I don't know. What did you guys think she was? Anyway, everybody else either came with hair in their flowers or animal antlers. It was awkward. That scene with Garcelle and Dorit. Dorit is saying that, she was very offended by Garcelle trying to insinuate that her robbery was fake. And look, I'm sure everybody has a raised eyebrow about that shit because legit, every single freaking season she got robbed or mugged or home invasion or some fucking shit. And look, if you follow the franchise like that, then you know that there are rumors and allegation that all of this stuff that has been going on is insurance fraud. And that is basically how they are supporting their lifestyle. That PK has filed bankruptcy, and all of these catastrophes that have happened to them is more or less insurance fraud. Who the fuck knows? But she's saying she's offended and insulted by Garcelle insinuating that her home invasion was fake, didn't happen. I foresee this season being very boring. It makes me feel like there must not be that much going on in this season if they have to bring in Kathy Hilton, and if they also need to film scenes with two ex-husbands that have no further connection to their past spouses. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Scenes that are separate from the women, and they're not even with the women anymore. They're not even their spouses anymore. Kyle's saying that they never had a friendship like that, and they're coming to blows. And this is the first episode of the season premiere, season 14, at Sutton's party, Kyle versus Dorit. And basically, Dorit is feeling like she has been Kyle's lackey and she wants to be her own woman and she doesn't want to be Kyle's lackey anymore. And Kyle is saying that, you know, how she's perceiving is wrong. It's one of those to be continued episodes. What did you guys think of the season premiere? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? You know, what did you think of Dorit's costume, outfit, whatever it was? Do you guys know what it was? What did you guys think it was? I mean, like I said, I thought she was a satellite dish and Sutton thought she was a condom. Like, what did you guys think she was? Let me tell you, Kathy Hilton, she's there for the comic relief because when she got to Sutton's party, she legit just started taking out her like hair extension. And I love Boz. So Boz, she is like legit just looking at Kathy Hilton like, what the fuck is this crazy ass white lady doing? I mean, she didn't say that, but that's basically the expression on her face because she's like, I've never seen shit like that. I've seen lots of shit, but I've never seen shit like that. She's very quirky, and there's just something about her. She's very eccentric and over the top. I am enjoying the new edition. I really am interested in Boz. I definitely think she is a great addition. I'm not really interested in seeing Mauricio and PK. I don't really want to hear anything more about Morgan Way, so I hope I am correct when I said that a period dot was put on that. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy the episode? What are you guys looking forward to? What did you think of the fight or the potential fight between Kyle and Dorit and all that good jazz? And do you think we're going to see more of PK and Mauricio? What do you think this season is going to be? And yeah, guys, don't forget to hit the like, follow, subscribe, leave me a comment, and all that good jazz. I'll check you guys out later. Bye.